Bullshitters. I'm your host, Pat Soroyce. If you guys like what you hear today, you can find us. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Lie Cheat Steal Podcast. And if you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and a rating wherever you're listening to us. Or you can subscribe to our Patreon, where we release 2 more episodes every month. That's at patreon.com/lie, cheat, and steal. Anyways, as always, I'm here with my co-host, Kath Barbadoro. Kath, how you doing today?
Hi, Pat. I'm good. Great job with the intro.
Thank you.
Love it.
It was right in front of me.
It's a mouthful. It was great.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be recording. I'm going to be recording in person very soon, which I'm very excited about. Listeners will hear that, I believe, in early February. So, I'm pumped. I'm flying to Austin at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Wow.
I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah.
It's the night
if I can get out
flight.
before New York City floods, it's like crazy weather here. So we'll see.
Yeah, we're excited to have you back, man. Yeah, it's I'm doing good. I took off work today, so I'm just kind of vibing.
Hell yeah.
It was super cold. I'm excited. I'm getting ready to do some traveling too. I'm gonna be doing some shows up in the Dakotas, Nebraska, and as well as Minnesota. So no, actually,
perfect time of year for it.
Yeah, I know. I don't quite know what I was thinking saying yes to this, but they're flying me out, so I'm like, hey, let's go. It's gonna kind of be like a vacation, but not a vacation.
Very cold vacation.
Very cold vacation,
nice
yeah.
Winter jaunt.
I'm looking forward to this one. It's gonna be the 23rd to the 28th, or 24th to 28th. So it's 4 shows, but it's kind of cool. Like, they're flying me out, and then I also look. It's not my vehicle, so we're gonna be driving in like the Booker's car, and so it's gonna be. And back when I was like on the road to pay my bills, being out on the road was way more stressful because you were just like, all right, I got to think, I got a budget, got to calculate. This is literally like a little shitty vacation for me. And I'm gonna I'm gonna do some comedy at some breweries in the middle of nowhere. I'm thinking of calling it the North of the Wall tour.
I like it.
Yeah. I was thinking of a flyer, and I was putting on some ideas, and I thought, the poster for The Thing, where it's like the guy in the Arctic suit with the light coming out of his face, just as The Thing.
Yeah.
That. But in the face suit, my face, the tour. But I was like, no, I don't know if I want to do that. But yeah, looking forward to going to the Great Frozen North and doing some shows. I'm looking at that Arctic blast shit that's supposed to come in next week. And I'm like, I hope that's just next week, not the week after next. But then I'm like, is that even the difference with the Dakotas? Like, what are we doing?
Well, there's that. But then also Texas next week is the way my friend put it was Texas is about to have its annual will this be a couple cozy days or will society collapse test? Because it's going to get down to like 15. And y'all are in your own grid. I don't know what the fuck's going on down there. It's happening right after I leave. Like, I have a very short trip, and then good luck to y'all. Maybe you'll be up in the frozen north at that point, so maybe it won't bother you either.
I will. Well, next week I'll be in town.
For you guys.
Yeah, next week I'll be dealing with it. And I don't know how work outside is going to be because that shit, 30 degrees. We're in this little thing. They did something nice. They vacuum sealed the room we're in, which I've said before is the size of several football fields. And they got a company in there to essentially heat shrink it. So it's like in this little bubble, which is good because now the silica dust has nowhere to go. So we're just really
keep all that COVID in.
Yeah. Keep it all in. Yeah, let's all breathe on each other. It's a big love fest in there right now. So it's we'll see what next week has in store.
We had to reschedule this recording because I got COVID. I'm better now, but it was like the worst. It was the worst case scenario because I had been to 2 parties in a row and then woke up New Year's Day with COVID. It was like great, awesome, infecting the max amount of people. Like, went to a party the 30th, went to a party the 31st. First, I had COVID.
Damn.
So.
I know like New York is a hot spot for it. Like, and that's where you get it. It's in large ass cities like that. Everything's very congested. But like, I swear, like it's gotten you a lot up there. Like, I feel bad. Like it's America's doorknob.
Going around. I mean, America's doorknob. This is my second time having it. I've had it twice now.
Oh, word, yeah.
We can't recommend it.
We had that scare when
it is like twice is a little low for people. I feel like people here get it all the time.
I think maybe I'm adding a third at the time because I was visiting you. I was visiting New York that time. I was staying at your place, and then I went out to a party or a show, and Andrew Dismukes was like, "Hey guys, we got tested at work. Everybody, I have COVID. Everybody needs to get tested." And I was at your place, and I was like, "Hey, thanks for letting me stay at your house. Also, you should probably get a COVID test."
Yeah. I didn't get it that time.
Yeah, you didn't get it. Yeah, I had to hit the road too. I was on tour, and I was like, I just took it. Was like, I hope this works out because I have 2 more weeks of dates. So, yeah, it was good. But
Well, here's my segue. Today we have a story about people crossing borders, crossing state lines,
hell yeah.
traveling, things going places. Also, things that transmit COVID. That's what we're talking about today. I just have like some weird little anecdotes that I've found about an industry that I find very interesting. We're going to talk about exotic animal smuggling today.
Nice.
Wildlife.
It was only a matter of time before we got here.
trade.
I'm excited.
I just like, I don't know, we talk about unusual heists and things like
Yeah.
that. I feel like one thing we've found in a lot of these is there are things that are very valuable, but that are not legislated as if they are. And if you
Yeah.
can figure out how to build like an industry around it in like sort of a gray area, you can make a lot of money. Like, for example, that guy who stole rare bird feathers for fishing lures,
That's
right?
what I was going to mention. Yeah, I definitely would have known there was a market for that.
Or like when we did an episode about truffles, like hunting truffles and how that's like
yeah.
a whole industry. Exotic animals are very much that kind of thing, although definitely way trickier to smuggle around because they can kill and eat you sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
when your contraband can snitch on you, you know, like that, that's like,
Yeah.
you can hop out of your hoodie and let people know things are happening.
yeah, exactly. It's high risk, but also high reward.
High reward,
So-
yeah. Because even if you don't make money off the animal, you make a friend along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
What was
Kath.
that? What was that Clint Eastwood movie where he was driving in a pickup truck with a monkey?
I don't know that
Any
one.
which way but up. Similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Broad similarities with the movie Any Which Way But Up.
Yeah, I feel like it happens. I feel like there's definitely at least one case of someone getting attached to their exotic animal that they're smuggling and deciding to befriend it and keep it, you know?
The buyer's like, hey, do you have that rare bird? You're like, you mean Franklin?
Right.
A creature with agency and people who love it? Yeah, I have it. It's not going to you.
So this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Just counting like only counting like not apparently fish are like the most like
Really?
money, but also like less illegal. Basically, the thing I found was like $5 to $23 billion, not including fish. And if you include fish, it's like 60 billion.
Jesus
so
Christ.
like, I don't know, man. I don't know where all these fish are going. It's pretty wild.
Man, you gotta have like a special jacket with like a fish tank built into that bitch. You're just like walking around.
I guess you just like boat with a net or something. I don't know what you
Oh,
do.
yeah,
I don't
you
know
know what?
how you get.
Yeah. You just like open your briefcase. You got a million little like baggies full of goldfish in that bitch. You're like, oh, found out. You swallow them like Coke baggies, but it's a little
Yeah, there you go.
It's a little PetSmart
Like
goldfish
Jackass.
bag. Yeah.
Mhm. So this has been a thing for a really long time. I mean, I feel like you learn this when you're like in school and you're learning about like elephants or something and you're like, oh no, poachers. That's like
Yeah.
I feel like there were a lot of poachers in like 90s kids movies as like the bad guys.
They were set up
you
to be
know?
way more of a presence in the real world, than I think they actually are.
Right.
Yeah.
Although, well, this is what we're talking about. They are a presence. They just don't really affect us.
Yeah. I guess that's the point intended. Oh man.
So, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, right, sorry.
So like this has always been a thing, but social media has really driven this industry because people see videos of cute animals on like TikTok and they're like, I want to own that. Give me that.
Oh,
I
is there
want it."
anything social media won't destroy? That's like I say that I'm probably complicit. My Instagram feed is almost solely raccoons, and like
Ooh.
yeah, which they're
Well,
not
those
a problem.
you don't have to smuggle. They're
yeah,
around.
yeah, they come to you. You can't like. There's people trying to unsmuggle those fucking things, but like it is kind of crazy. But like, because of that, it's also led me into like, hey, also I know a lady that's friends with a pangolin. If you want to watch that, you're like, well, I'll click that link. Let's go. And like,
Oh, we're gonna talk about pangolins. They
they're
come
coming
up in this. Yeah. The example. So a lot of these sources, I got stuff from all over. I got some Texas Monthly. I got some stuff from a think tank called Insight Crime, which reports on organized crime. All National Geographic. Like I went through a bunch of stuff for this. But one of the sources said like there were a bunch of videos of. Do you know what a slow loris is? They're very cute.
no, I don't.
I'm about to send you a picture. I guess I'll text it to you since
Okay.
we're on So I'm about to send you a picture of a slow loris. You can put it in our video. They are these, they're like if a lemur had big, cute eyes.
Okay.
They're really great. And there was like a huge upswing in videos of these little guys eating little rice balls.
Oh yeah. Yep, these cats. Yep, the slow
You
lorises.
guys.
Yeah. Man, that's yeah, I can see wanting to. I'll pay a couple G's to get that cute motherfucker into the room. Come on in, dude. Yeah.
Exactly. I just keep thinking about when I was reading about this, I just kept thinking about, do you remember when French Montana had a monkey
Yeah.
like in his entourage?
Yeah.
That's like I'm just imagining like the French Montanas of the world being like, I would like a slow loris, please.
Yeah.
I'm sending out their like guy to go.
Yeah. Look, bring me back a slow loris. I need one of those for the crib. Yeah.
So like that's an example of like social media kind of fueling this, because after these videos went viral, there was a lot of poaching of slow lorises for pets. It's interesting you bring up pangolins because they're actually the most trafficked animal in the world.
Really?
Yeah, and it's interesting you say someone had one as a pet because they're mostly trafficked for their meat. Apparently, pangolin is a delicacy in Vietnam, and it tastes awesome.
Yeah. Man, you know what? I think the world would have been a better place if I never found that out. Now I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, now the seed of information is in my head.
Some people say it tastes good. Some people say it tastes like chicken. Some people say it tastes like ants. So jury's out. I don't feel I need to try it.
Yeah, because pangolins eat ants, don't they?
Maybe that's why they taste like them, you know?
Oh, yeah. That's what flamingos are pink because of the shrimp. So
yeah, exactly. But pangolins are interesting because they're sold for their meat. Also, their scales are used in traditional Chinese medicine, which TCM drives a lot of this, which we'll talk about. But an interesting thing about pangolins too is they think that they were an early carrier of COVID. That might be how COVID got to human beings.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's put a dent in the popularity of them as trafficked, but they're getting smuggled.
Yeah, now it's like you're smuggling biological weapons at that point. That's like the same thing as having like sarin gas or some shit. I don't know, like you got you got a pangolin on the loose. Yeah, I bet that you could take a lot of like epidemics and trace them back to illegally trafficked animals. I'm sure that has a pretty big impact on that game.
It's definitely like one of the things that people like advocacy groups that try to crack down on this. That is like their big sort of lever of putting pressure on governments. Because we'll talk about it's not a very big crime. Like it's not prosecuted really heavily. I mean, compared to like drug smuggling or something, this is like nothing. You know, it's like it's fines.
See, I think the move is to smuggle the drugs in the animals, right? Because everybody's like, "Hey, we caught you with 1 million parrots. Here's a ticket." And you're like, "Okay, all right," and then boom, you're gone, and you're in the wind.
Don't think about why the parrots are acting really weird.
Yeah. The parrots are all smoking cigs, like trying to talk to you about movie scripts and shit.
They're all writing screenplays.
Yeah. Hey, why are all the parrots in the bathroom? Like, what's all that? It's like 5 of them in there.
So, as I said, like another thing that is a big mechanism for this, not so much for live animals, but for poaching, is traditional Chinese medicine, which like unfortunately uses all the coolest animals in medicine. Like
that is Man, that's crazy. Yeah, it is. It's nothing run of the mill. It's like if they had like a suit made of donkey antler that got rid of asthma or whatever, or donkey hoof, they'd be like, yeah, fine, we got donkeys. They're around. It's like you guys.
Right. It's never just like delicious pork belly that we're already eating.
Yeah, it's like tiger penis and all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's bear gallbladders, tiger bones, rhino horns. One thing we're going to talk about that I didn't know that I feel like is a lot more humble, and I don't know what it does for you. It's definitely not as badass as like cobra fangs or whatever, which is another thing they use is cobra.
Whoa.
They also use sea cucumbers in stuff.
Oh, so, shit. Yeah.
Just like those slug guys.
Yeah. That when you touch them, they excrete.
Probably.
Yeah, I thought there was like it was either Jackass or Wild Boys, where they like Steve-O and Chris Pontius.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were out there. They were just like jerking off sea cucumbers in full scuba gear. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Early 2000s MTV, baby, just untouched.
So, again, social media is like a big issue with this because not only are people finding like cute animals that they want for pets, it's also a mechanism to sell this stuff. Like you on like WhatsApp and even
Yeah.
on like Facebook and stuff, people are selling these animals that are like some of them are totally illegal to sell, some of them are sort of gray market. You're supposed to have a permit, like that kind of stuff. Um, so some examples before we get into some specifics here. As I said, pangolins, sharks, obviously make soup out of it. It's like a very fancy thing.
Yeah.
Turtles and tortoises, people make like tortoiseshell stuff.
My grandma
Also
lived on an
pets.
acre of land in Florida, and people used to come around like rednecks and shit, be like, "Hey, they give her like $20 just to get the turtles off the property. They just go grab a few, make soup." It was,
Yeah.
yeah. I bet some rural Florida trailer park turtle soup probably went real hard. Yeah.
I bet it was good. I bet it was really good.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never eaten turtle. I've had alligator. I imagine
Yeah,
they might be kind of similar.
I've had gator. I've had shark. I had shark tacos in San Diego.
Oh yeah.
They were really good. I liked them. But then, I mean, you could. It wasn't necessarily the texture of the protein that was wild. It wasn't like, oh, as I said, it was just well made at a restaurant. So like, I'm sure I could replicate it with something else.
Yeah, so I live in like a Jamaican neighborhood and I've had bacon shark, but I don't know if that's actually shark or not, or like what
Bacon
it.
shark. Ooh, yeah. What
So
what are the bacon parts of fish? Bring those in here, please.
oh no, not bacon, not BACON. That would
Yeah.
be sick if I had bacon shark. No, it's bake, BAKE, and shark.
Oh,
So it's like
bacon shark.
yeah, so bake is like the bun. It's basically like a shark sandwich. And now I'm looking up what's in it. It's like a Caribbean. I'm sorry, I said Jamaican. It's Trinidadian food.
Yeah. Are we having another episode where we make ourselves hungry? Who'd have thought it'd be on on the illegal animal episode?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just shark. I don't know what kind of shark it is, but I've eaten shark apparently.
Yeah.
It tasted like fish. It was good. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the wild part. Is a lot of stuff is good, but that's like, that's stuff that's supposed to be a delicacy. When you get into like, like tiger bones and shit like that, it's like, all right, we can't eat those. It's a little crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So some other things that people will like illegally smuggle. As I said, cobras. For pets like geckos, seahorses, songbirds. Apparently, there's a whole thing in Asia where they have singing competitions for songbirds. So it's like, which is like, to me, that's like a very cute version of cockfighting.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's just little bird
if
battle
you're gonna
raps.
do it, make them sing. Yeah, make them do little battle raps.
They're just stunting. It's like a little bird DJ, and they're like, oh man, I can see the AI art already.
I want that's the next Miyazaki movie right there. Like that's what I want.
Also, it's
awesome.
funny like caging a bird to sing. It's like I wonder if there's any profound piece of art about why that's not a bad idea. Or that's why it's not a good idea to cage a bird who should sing.
Perhaps this is a metaphor.
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually was in a place where some of this trafficking goes on when I was in Mexico City. There's a market there called Mercado Sonora, which is famous for, people call it the witch market because it has like regular stuff too, but it also is where you go to get like spiritual supplies. Like you can go there to get like cleansed and stuff, like with like folk medicine. You can get like special herbs there or whatever, but they also sell live animals. And it's like this weird sort of black market section of it, and like you can hear it and you can smell it from far away, but that's what's over there.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of this sort of like whispers about it or whatever, it's for like Santeria or whatever, but it's also just people get pets there, people, all kinds of stuff. And this investigator from Insight Crime went and just to see kind of what he could get, and he is offered like a catalog that was again sent to him through WhatsApp, like just social media sort of enabling all of this. And there was just like a menu of all these animals that you could get. Like some of them were there, some of them they were clearly keeping off site.
What were some notables?
So I want you to guess how much a Bengal tiger goes for at this market.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say, well, see, it's at that market, so I'm thinking about like international, like the retail cost, because like sometimes
You're probably getting a little bit of a discount because you're at Mexico City market.
I'm gonna say $6,000.
You're not that far off. You are under though.
Oh, okay, good.
It is
Initially, I thought $12,000, and then I said half it, but I'm just doing Price is Right stuff now.
$10,200. They said around 200,000 pesos.
Pesos, yeah. Come on down. Come get your tiger. Yeah, that's. What if I was like 10,201, and then I won? Man, that's crazy. So yeah, 10,000 for a tiger. That's cool. Does it come as a kitten? Like, do you get it as like a baby?
I don't know. I feel like probably because I imagine it's easier to smuggle that.
Yeah.
And B, then like your customer isn't immediately killed and no one's going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you're like, look at 10,000 for that tiger, and they're like, all right, it's in here. It's like, just let it out. You're just like, fuck. Yeah. I would be mad.
I'd imagine like the people who are in the market for a tiger, $10,000 is not a lot of money.
Yeah, if you're buying tigers at that point, what's $10,000? Shit, you're in Mexico for a week. It probably cost you your hotel room that weekend, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're partying.
Which, speaking of, in the early 2000s in New York, there was a 425 pound tiger living in an apartment in Harlem. Somebody just had this tiger. His name was Ming. He was, this dude, Antoine Yates, he owned this full-grown tiger. That is like.
Have you seen Antoine's tiger? Like, it's just like, what? Antoine is a tiger now? Like, yeah, dude, you know that dude. I'm getting like he was pushing some dope and he had some money and he was like, yeah, bro, Antoine is a tiger now. Fool, it's insane.
He was the article about him says he was a 31-year-old construction worker. I imagine he might have had some side jobs.
Hell yeah, dude. That's the guy on the job site. He's just like, bro, I got a tiger. He shows you a picture of his phone real quick. And you're just like, what? How did the tiger news break? Did it break tragically? Because I would imagine a lot of times a tiger is discovered via tiger accident.
Well, thankfully, no. But I'd imagine some neighbors complained.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it feels like no matter what's going on, you're like, my upstairs neighbors are tap dancing bowlers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going on up there. But
it's
like I saw this video.
50-pound feet. I don't know. That's all I can get.
I saw this video on Instagram that was like, it was a bunch of people doing like a trampoline workout and it said upstairs neighbors training camp.
Oh, yeah. There's a wonderful sketch out there about the upstairs neighbors, and it's like this Brooklyn artisanal couple that take being upstairs neighbors like an art. And he's like, and they're like, this is like hipster dad. He's like, yeah, we really do things they would never expect. And the downstairs neighbors like, what are they doing? Rolling marbles around? And it cuts back up, and it's exactly what he's doing. Like,
the Foley artist of being upstairs. Yeah. So yeah, this dude, he got a like several week old tiger cub, and within 3 years it was 425 pounds and it lived in his apartment.
Come on, Antoine, you knew that was gonna happen, bro.
Yeah. Damn
it, Antoine, we've been through this. Animals get bigger.
He had a bunch of other exotic animals in there too, but the tiger was really the showpiece.
Yeah, that's the centerpiece right there.
But yeah, so like you can, if you go and you ask the right people and you ask the right questions, you can get a tiger.
Yeah,
and people definitely do. So there's like a few classes of customer in this market, right? So like there's people who are just looking for a pet and they don't really care.
Yeah.
And they want a turtle or whatever. Then there are people with some money who maybe have a private zoo type situation, like a Tiger King type deal, your Antoines, perhaps.
At the higher end of recreational pet ownership is Antoine.
Exactly. And then there are people who are like more large scale, who are looking to smuggle stuff for like Chinese traditional medicine or things like that.
Has anyone ever done any tests to see if the Chinese traditional medicine works? Because like, I wonder, like, A, I'm like, does it? Is obviously a huge question. B, like, if it was found out conclusively that it doesn't work, would that help reduce it? Or what if they tested it and they're like, shit, it does work, and they suppressed it?
I mean, I think like some of it does work. There's some stuff that works. I don't think like rhino horn works. Like, I don't think there's any biological mechanism that would make like tiger bones any different than any other bone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Why
that
would it?
seems like more symbolic,
Yeah.
than anything. But yeah, I mean, like people have regular medicine in China, like it's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
it's, I think it's like folk medicine, I don't think the fact that it doesn't have scientific evidence is curtailing its use by the people who want to use it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can imagine being a proponent for it and being like, look, yeah, show me all the reports you want. Drink a cup of this tiger bone soup. Tell me you don't feel like a fucking god, dude.
I mean, I would feel cool.
Yeah, tell me you don't feel like, yeah, just sitting on a throne right now. That's how that feels.
Right. It helps with self-confidence.
Yeah,
That's what it helps with.
Hell yeah.
So naturally, because of the market for this stuff, and also because like A, they already sort of have the infrastructure for it, and B, the penalties for this are pretty low, organized crime has really swept in on this market. Like
Yeah.
that, it's sort of a sideline income for them because they already have like smuggling connections.
Yeah.
And you know who wants a pet tiger? A drug dealer.
Yeah.
That's who wants one.
Hell yeah. It's just like Christopher Maltasanti shouldn't be anywhere near like exotic animals or the sale of exotic animals. Like, yeah, that's bad they're involved.
So, like Mexican drug cartels. So the article I read from Texas Monthly focused on trafficking in Mexico because Mexico is it's one of the like most biodiverse countries. It has like a huge diversity of like plants and animals that live there. So it's like an easy place to, and the government isn't super stable, and like there's a lot of corruption with the drug cartels and everything like that. So like it's a great place to smuggle out of because there's like monkeys and jaguars and iguanas and snakes and parrots and everything anybody could want.
Yeah, you got to source local. That's what you got to do. If you want your illegal animal trade to be sustainable, it needs to be sourced locally. That's the most important part of the whole business.
So like a big one, a really popular one that's smuggled into the United States. So most trafficked animals end up either in China or in the US. Those are like the two biggest markets. And one of the most popular animals to traffic into the US is a spider monkey. That's like a very and pretty portable,
Yeah. Also, like I feel like when you get into monkeys, like if you work closely enough with the monkey, you can kind of get them involved on the hustle. Like you just be like, hey, look, I need you to put on this hat. All right, you need to put on these glasses, you need to read the newspaper, and you're my son. All right, that's what we're doing. We're in this, and like
you're my weird son. You have a condition.
Oh, you're gonna sit here? You're gonna persecute me because my son was born with monkey son? I have monkey son. I can't help that.
Yeah, I mean, there are videos of monkeys like in I think it's in like Southeast Asia where there are monkeys that hang out at like tourist spots.
Yeah.
And they'll like grab your sunglasses and they won't drop your sunglasses unless you give them a treat. Like they're mugging you. They're
man, there's something about like those. Did you like just that whole monkey system fascinates me over there. The fact that they're just there and they're doing well, they're fucking crushing it. And then like when tourism stopped in Bali, did you see how like it was like anarchy in the monkey world? So
I did see that. Yeah,
they were in street gangs like fighting for the remaining resources and shit. It was bleak, but that was an insane story to follow. It was the COVID Bali monkeys.
When I was in India, there was we went to this temple that had a bunch of monkeys living at it, and I think it was a Hanuman temple, who's like the god with the monkey head.
Yeah.
So like if there are monkeys living in a Hanuman temple, a lot of times the people who take care of the temple will take care of the monkeys because it's like, yeah, you're here for your boy. Like this is part of it.
Yeah, I'd be a fraud working here if I chased you off.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I just remember we were at this temple and like the monkeys were hanging out in the trees and like they're used to people. They weren't really bothering us. But then we see them all start running down toward the road and we're like, oh wow, what's going on? And we look and there's a dude on like a moped coming up the road that they all start running at. And we realize he has a bunch of fruit on the back of his moped and he was there to feed them and they knew.
Yeah.
And they all were like, that's our guy. And they all like ran down.
We love this dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a self-esteem boost right there. Matter of fact, you don't need tiger bone tea. Just bring fruit to monkeys 2 days in a row. The second day they will know you and you're in. That's a good thing
Yeah,
he was there to
like,
deliver the fruit. Imagine if he was just driving by with the fruit. That's terrifying.
oh, it'd be a problem.
Yeah. He's
It'd
like,
be an
shit,
issue.
shit. Your little moped engine's going out. And he's like looking behind you. That's just a sea of monkeys encroaching.
There are videos of elephants doing that with sugarcane trucks,
Oh,
where
yeah.
the elephants will stop in the middle of the road and they won't leave until the sugarcane truck gives them some sugarcane.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sick.
Man, I will say this. I've said this before. Whenever an animal does something like when the orcas were crashing the boats, monkeys or elephants are stealing sugarcane. I don't know. There's just something that I love about the system getting flipped like that. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
When I see it, I want more of it. I'm sure the day I get attacked by a bear, I'll have a different thought. But until then, I love it. It's more of that.
We need animals to start trafficking people. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah. Just karmic justice. Let's go.
So spider monkey is a very popular thing to traffic. You can get them for like a couple hundred in Mexico. They sell for a couple thousand in the United States.
Ain't that the case?
And they come through, like, they're sold in Texas a lot. There's a like border agent who said, this is just a very funny quote. I can just so picture this guy. So he says, if you're buying a spider monkey here in the United States and you're paying in the $8,000 range, that son of a gun was smuggled out of Mexico. I guarantee it. Very good.
Great. A very folksy approach to the monkey trade. You're like, whew, you got to get a different guy, man. You're taking a bath on that monkey.
So, the thing is, like, they have to get caught in the act of smuggling, otherwise you can't like prove where it came from. There are ways that like the sale of these animals is permitted. They don't know where, it's
got a picture of you with a monkey. I just know that monkey, sir. That is right. Not. Yeah, that's a personal friend of mine, and we're allowed to hang out. This is America.
It's funny you should say that because in 2022, these people, it was two sisters. They drove through the port of Laredo, and the people found a monkey in the back seat. Like the border agents there was a monkey chilling back there, and instead of stopping and getting caught, they just sped away. They just like peaced out through the border. And they sort of like, they had their license plate and everything. So they found them, and by the time they found them, she had sold it to someone, and that guy had sold it to like a YouTube rapper, and they found like the videos of the guy hanging out with his spider monkey, and that's what made me think of Fresh Montana, right?
Yeah. Be like, authorities suspect the monkey featured in this TikTok video might be a monkey who illegally entered the country 3 days ago as mugshot. It's like, that's the same monkey.
All these illegals, man. That's the problem. So another thing that's happening in Mexico on the like traditional Chinese medicine side is these sea cucumbers. So a really common habitat for sea cucumbers is off the coast of the Yucatan, down by Bolivia. There's a ton of them there, and there is like legal fishing there, but most fishing, or at least a huge proportion of fishing in Mexico, is unpermitted and technically illegal.
Yeah.
And the reason they give permits is because they don't want to overfish the populations and everything. And apparently this like sea cucumber trade has totally decimated the sea cucumber population in this part of the ocean, and they've tracked it all to cartels. Like the cartels realized there was a market for this, and they were like, this is a lot less dangerous and risky than Coke or whatever, and we can sell these, and they just like grow here, there's no manufacturer or whatever. So it's like a huge industry for them.
Yeah.
And
with the cartels in charge of the pharmaceutical industry, the transit, and the fishing industry, at what point are they just the government? They're like, bro, check it out. I got this crazy hustle. We'll plant wheat, right? Stay with me, right? And then later we'll sell that wheat on a large international scale. And it's like, you're just the government now.
I mean, that's like kind of what has happened. It is like, we have like a model for this. Like we call certain countries petrostates, right? To some extent, Texas is a petrostate in miniature.
Represent.
It's like they get their money from oil, right?
Yeah.
They're extracting a natural resource, and like the people who own that resource basically get to control the country, And like drug trafficking in Mexico is a bigger industry than tourism. It's like if you put together all the money that comes out of it, it's like the biggest industry in the country. It's the most profitable. And from like the books I've read about it, it's basically like the power dynamic is so flipped that you can't even really say there's corruption in the Mexican government because the cartels are more powerful than the Mexican government. Like,
I think there's some government in the Mexican corruption. You know?
Right. Like the government has to make inroads into the cartel, not the other way around.
Hell yeah.
Like they cracked down on it and like it's gotten better, it's gotten worse. It's not like the worst it's ever been. But yeah, a lot of the like basically it's like, well, if things are calm there, it's because the government and the cartels are getting along. Like that's why it's calm. But yeah, so the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel are really connected to China and sell not just sea cucumbers, they do reptiles, scorpions, snake glands, songbirds, tiger teeth, all kinds of stuff. They sell it to private zoo owners, they sell it to people preparing Chinese medicine. They do like sacrifices and stuff like folk magic. This one dude said, we had a case a couple years ago in Dallas where a shop owner was smuggling hummingbird carcasses into the country and turning them into love amulets. This guy got a 1-year probation and $2,000 fine. So like, not depending on how much those love amulets went for, not that bad.
It's cost doing business.
Exactly.
That's all that is.
So another thing that is really popular that is fished off Baja California is this type of fish called a totuaba, and like it has some organ in it that is it's good for you. It basically this is the reason why I say like it's not like some of it works as far as like being bioactive, but like the reason you take this bladder is because it like makes you good at business, like which I guess makes it cocaine. That's cocaine, right?
Yeah, like the noble cocaine fish of South America. Like this.
They call it the cocaine of the sea. That's what they call. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I need to get a line in on these guys, see what they're talking about. Yo, it makes you good at business. I love But no, seriously,
fish that makes you good at business.
Yeah. That's like, so do you cook it? Do you eat it? Do you snort it? How's that like?
I think like you said, I think you like powder it and put it in a soup or like boil it in a soup. I mean, so they say it's translated as fish maw. I think there's like a lot of different things that are called fish maw. I think it just means like the like mouth part of a fish.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But this like specific. Like I've been to a Chinese restaurant, it says fish maw soup on the. Yeah. So I think like if you're gonna be good at business, you make your fish maw soup with this type of fish or whatever.
Yo, yeah, if you're out there, I'm very curious about the effects of this fish maw, just because that sounds insane. If you're out there, reach out to the show.
Yeah, if you have a hookup.
Yeah, if you had it, I want to try it. If you just have an experience with it, like you took it, it was just, you're a Burning Man or where the fuck you do that at,
That's our Patreon goal. If we hit a certain amount on Patreon, we will take the cocaine of the sea.
Yeah, do an episode on fish maw. Shit gets like 1 million views.
So yeah, like these border agents say, we've seen fish hidden in the spare tires of vehicles, attached to the bodies of people crossing borders, hidden in parcels. It's the same modus operandi as drug trafficking. There have been several reports of well-known criminal groups involved in this trade. There is also trade in the other direction. So animals will be bred in captivity near the border and then smuggled to Mexico. The Texas Monthly Reporter went to basically like an auction of exotic animals in like out in the hill country, and he said he saw several wildebeest, including an adult and its calf for $3,500 each.
Whoa.
A red stag for $1,700, 4 rays, which are a type of bird, for $170 a bird. And a pair of large turtles for $2,500, which were advertised as making good soup. So,
oh no, that's insane. You know that, man, that red stag. That deer was nervous as shit at that place. Like that was a on edge deer.
Yeah, I mean, where do you keep them all? It's the other thing about this is like very few animals smuggled make it alive to their destination. Like they are not shipping these with the utmost care.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah, that's That's wild. Yeah, but a lot of them wouldn't make it, and then at that point it becomes a numbers game. You run enough through, a few things will hit and make it across. That's
Right. And the thing is, like, if you lose your animals, you just go get more animals.
Yeah.
It's like, they're around. You can grab some.
I would imagine, like, okay, you have the sale of drugs or whatever. Traditionally, I'll say it attracts some cool people. I've met some really cool drug dealers that at the very least they're unique and they're interesting. I would imagine to be involved in this trade to the extent where these animals are seen as cargo. I don't know, man. Maybe, like, I'm not a vegan, but like I feel like this inherently attracts people who probably lack empathy and are bad people. And I'm not saying, like, obviously like illegal is illegal, but like it feels like these guys are probably just. I don't feel sympathy for this type of criminal if like somebody comes in there and like cleans house, because it's like, yeah, if you know you're moving through red stags and like 8 of them are gonna die, but you'll be able to sell 2. Like, you don't give a shit. I don't know.
I mean, you're treating life as a commodity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not human life. It's not like that bad, but it is a step in that direction from goods. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's that's weird because, like, I don't know. I guess maybe like it's just moral relativism or gray area, but that feels. I look at these
like
guys
we eat
worse.
meat,
Yeah.
so we're being a little bit hypocritical as meat eaters, but like it does feel different when it's somebody illegally selling poached animals.
Yeah, man, it hits different when they got opposable thumbs. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. So this is just like a really common thing, especially near the border. I don't know. Have you ever known anyone who's owned, like, not like a tiger or whatever, but like an exotic pet person?
So one of the first times I ever came to Austin to hang out, I was still living in Killeen, and Austin just seemed like this fucking fantasy land. I came down here, I went to my friend's apartment, and we walked in. As we walked in, this thing bound off this guy's shoulder across the room and ran out of view. And I was like, what the hell just happened? And it was a genet, which is like a little African creature. It's kind of like a mix between like a cat and like a little raccoon, and they're like little land animals in Africa.
Ooh, I'm Googling.
Yeah, I think it's Genet or something like that. Genet. And so, yeah, and he had one, and he was like, a braided beard, unicycle riding, the hemp pants kind of dude. And he was like, yeah, and like eventually became cool with us, and it was like running around on him while we were talking, and he was like, yeah, man, I can't even go to like fucking HEB, dude, because it just like jumps off at the fruit. And I was like, well, you shouldn't bring it in there. but I remember, like, that just cemented Austin as like this fucking Candyland upside down world in my head. Before I moved here, I was like, what a magical place.
That makes sense. Yeah. It's definitely like the like kinds of exotic pet owners are like guys with unicycles and then people who are really scary. There's no middle ground.
The most harmless dudes on earth or the most harmful dudes on earth.
Right.
It's that middle ground. Yeah, there's no just Gary from accounting owning a fucking panda or whatever.
Yeah, I know a lizard guy who's really into lizards. He has like a bunch of lizards.
Yeah, reptiles are. I thought owning a reptile is weird, but traditionally, as it shakes out,
reptile
it's
weird. Not like crazy out there. It's just a little. It's definitely like a type of guy.
Yeah. Because there's not an emotional connection there, and like I'm not trying to make any lizard listeners mad out there if you have a reptile pet. They
know they're a type of guy.
Yeah. I just feel like you might have an emotional connection with that animal. That animal does not have an emotional connection with you. Like, he's just like, oh, that branch that moves and gives me food is back. Like, it's the thing that I climb on. But I could be wrong. If you've got a personal connection with your reptile friend, reach out to us on social media. Slide
Ironically, we're talking about lizard guys. The lizard man, who we both know, who may be a future guest on the show, he does not own lizards. He owns ferrets. He's one of those guys. He's a big ferret head.
Big ferret head. That's great. You know what? I can see it. I can see it with that. Yeah. Lizard man. Yeah. The lizard man Eric Sprague, who might be a guest on the podcast in the future. Look him up. He's the guy who looks like a lizard. You can narrow him out pretty quick.
he's like the green guy from Ripley's Believe It or Not. Yeah. If you're around our age, you know who he is. He's a Austin local. He does comedy sometimes, and if you follow him on social media, he's like semi-retired from being the lizard man, and his social media is just all ferrets.
Yeah. That dude is weird. Like I love this life. I know a guy who's tattooed to look like a lizard and can swallow swords. That guy rules.
So we'll just like wrap it up here. I know this is a little bit of a short and sweet episode. So as I said, like one of the reasons that this is popular, it's sort of like the truffles and stuff is like it's pretty low risk. I mean, unless you're smuggling a fully grown tiger, you're probably going to be okay. And if
Yeah.
you get caught, you're probably going to be okay. If you bring drugs across the border, you can go to prison for life. If you bring animals across the border, like the wildlife law that governs this stuff is called the Lacey Act, and it carries a maximum sentence of 1 year. So like,
it's called the Lacey Act to highlight its soft and doily nature.
right, it's full of holes. It's full of holes.
It's full of holes. It's actually pretty comfortable. You can get real comfortable in the Lacey Act. Like it's not a bad place to be.
So this past summer, the Department of Homeland Security created a whole like unit to deal with this stuff, the Wildlife and Environmental Crimes Unit,
Fish cops,
they gotta
everybody
be
on the
getting
ground.
made fun of.
Animal police, everybody on the dicks in the dirt.
Yeah,
running in. That's great. That's got.
I just feel like Hank Schrader or whoever is like roasting those guys. Mercilessly, you know?
Yeah, all the drug cops. Yeah, you just get clowned out of the office. That is the next
like,
workplace.
Oh,
comedy.
did I bring the wrong plant in?
Yeah.
You know, like.
That is almost, you know what, the same ridicule that a brave pet detective once faced from the Miami PD.
Exactly.
I can think of one brave animal cop who exposed the corruption.
This also makes me think of like, when you go out of the country and you come back and they ask you like, what you're bringing in, and they're like very concerned with like, do you have any like weird cheeses with you, or like did you go to a farm and did you like step in, because they're very worried about like invasive species, so it's like you like step into, are you bringing seeds back, like that kind of stuff.
That's
but it's nice to know, even if you do all that on purpose, you're not going to get more than a year in jail.
Yeah.
So I guess just keep bringing stuff in.
Bring it
until
on
they
in,
fix
man.
this law.
My grandfather, on my dad's side, my French Canadian Pepe, he grew up in northern Maine, and they would smuggle stuff across the border to Canada all the time. That was like a business you get into. And there's this famous story. He's like, they would smuggle pigs, and like pork was cheaper in America, and so he would do is he would cut the pigs in half, wrap them, put them in the back. He took the backseat of his car out, and he would put the pigs in the back, and like have them like sitting up like almost like in seat positions. Then he would cover blankets on them, and he would just he would bring all of his homeboys, like 4 people in the car, and they'd all be sitting on the pigs in the back. And I don't know how true this part is, but my papa used to say, they'd ask him, "You got anything to declare?" He goes, "Yeah, I got 2 pigs in the back." And he'd look back and see his buddies. He's like, "Ah, you son of a bitch!"
Right. There you go.
Yeah, come on through, you wild bastard. And like, I don't know. I just feel like that was a fun time.
Bringing the pigs up through the border, bringing the Tylenols with codeine back down through the border. That's like the only thing I know they have in Canada that they don't have here. I'm sure there's more stuff.
I didn't know that at all. Shit. Yeah, if I lived in northern Maine, I'd be robo-tripping all the time.
I have a friend who lives in Canada, and she's American, and I remember her dad calling them, he was like, "Do you get any of those bombers?"
You know, that's funny.
Brother.
They can sell them there because they just know Canadians are responsible enough to not abuse them.
Right.
No, I'm sure.
Idiots about them.
Yeah, I'm sure y'all are having fun though.
Well, yeah. So that's the pet exotic animal smuggling episode. Worth it, I think. Worth it if you make friends with the animal.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it. If you can befriend the spider monkey that you're bringing in. Oh, one anecdote I didn't tell was like they were talking about a guy not like a little kid, like a teenager who was crossing the Rio Grande with his backpack above his head, and they opened the backpack and there were like 5 spider monkeys in there. So like, if you can befriend them and you're gonna keep it and it's gonna be a treasured member of your family, I say worth it. Otherwise, don't do it.
Yeah,
I mean, you won't get in trouble, but you might get in trouble with the cartels, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want to, they probably have steeper penalties for doing it than the government.
Wow. That's insane. That's a wild fact about the world we live in, is that, the cartels, you can get in more trouble for trafficking an animal with the cartel than you can with the actual government. But that's simply because you're stepping on their toes.
Like if they're like, you're stepping on our sea cucumber trade, get out of here. You're gonna get in trouble.
Damn, that's wild. Well, yeah, I would say worth it. Or, yeah, not worth it. Don't do it. The moral cost too high, but I'm sure the return is good.
Yeah.
But well, damn, thanks for letting us know about that, Kath. It was only a while until we got there. The exotic animal train. I love it. If you have an exotic animal as a pet, reach out to us. Even if it's just a dog, I still think they're pretty unique. So let us know. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening as well. Yeah, we guys, like I said, we do this all the time. You can check out our social media channels. We are at Lie Cheat Steal Podcast on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. We're on YouTube at Lie Cheat Steal Podcast, and we are also on our Patreon, where we have 2 more episodes a month, and we have a huge back catalog, and we have a Discord chat that's really fun you can be a part of. So hit us up on there. It's patreon.com/lie, cheat, and steal. I will be in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska on the 23rd through the 27th. I will have those dates up on my stuff. I'm at PZTX on Instagram. And Kath, you got anything for us?
Yeah, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, I have Master Pancake shows in Austin this weekend, Friday and Saturday. We're doing Silence of the Lambs and a new show, Cruel Intentions, which, man, that movie is ridiculous. We're writing the show right now. I just had rehearsal for it right before this. Very stupid movie. So come out to those.
Too horny to roast, I'd say.
You'd think, but it's like... like when I was a teenager, yes, but now watching it as an adult, it's like so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I bet. These children acting that way, unacceptable. It's so awkward. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
Well, guys, go check Kath out. And Kath, thank you so much for sharing this with us today. It was a fun episode. Folks, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, check us out on everything. If you're out there, your New Year's getting started, saying don't bring any pangolins into the country. We'll be disappointed in you if you do. But if you do, remember, be safe, be smart, but above all, don't get caught.
Don't get caught. See you next time.